Hi everyone. My name is Musaganiyy Olushola. I am yeah. Uh, this is the auto. I was here for the first time. I think 2 years ago or last year when Josh was presenting, and I was like, oh, this is a very amazing platform to like hear about projects and to hear about like fellow artists talk about their stuff and put light to their process, like I said. And it feels scary and, yeah, a bit anxious to be here, to be the one talking, but I'll do it. Thank you, everyone, for coming through, for being here. Yeah, let's get on. So, who am I? I'm a multidisciplinary visual storyteller, and I was going to like put up some artist statements to all this big English, yada yada yada, and just. But I was like, you know what? I think I'll just simplify and get into it with the presentation with what I mean by a multidisciplinary visual storyteller. 1993, he was born. That's my mama. I was raised by a single mom. Lost my dad at 3 months old, and she's been the one to, raise this young artist all by herself and do all the heavy lifting. She also gave me the confidence to pursue my dream and to, be an artist and never for once question my decision to be an artist. So shout out to my mom. Yeah, childhood. Um, that's my 1 year old birthday. See, very artsy already from right on there. My childhood was filled with cartoons, TV show, DBN, channels, watching Samurai X, and also going to Ilekeu, getting your ass whooped by the Afa, being very stubborn, but all to a point that I found that comic and illustration and cartoons and art was my thing. And I always wanted to like work at Marvel Comics to be like one of the illustrators, but I think that's a crazy work. I don't want to like get to seeing what comic book artists are doing, and yeah, shout out to them. So these three institutions are the ones that really shaped my artistic language and me being a multidisciplinary storyteller, visual storyteller, like I said. When I was done with secondary school, while awaiting to get into uni, did jam and it jammed me. So did another year again. And while I was waiting, so I went to Lagos City Computer School at Ikeja, just before Computer Village. And it was there that I was introduced to, and also as a youngin, I've been fascinated by like computers and playing games, all those stuff. But then I went to Lagos City Computer College, and it introduced me to design. And you would design Globalcom logo, design MTN logo using CorelDRAW. Photoshop it was like the matrix for me because I didn't understand what Photoshop was about. But that was the beginning of my artistic journey, so to say. Getting done with Lagos City Computer College, got into University of Lagos, studied visual arts, graduate of visual, design, visual art, and I majored in design. But in Unilag, your first year, you're going to studying fine arts. Sorry, your first year you're going to like do all three. You're going to like act, you're going to sing, and then the visual aspect of it. And then second year you major into visual, theater, textile, um, ceramics, and whatnot. And then I got selected, or I got drafted, so to say, to be in textile. But I was like, nah, this is not my world. I contested, yada, 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 and then I got moved back into graphic design. So that was how I, got better in graphic design. Then we were staying in the second year. Um, Shout out Studio Boys, Kodri. In Unilag then, we would, for the second year and third year, like majority of us will not get hostel. So we will be crashing in the visual studio. And there's like ceramic guys, there's like sculpture guys, there's like painting guys. And then when people are given assignments, you see them work overnight, question, oh, what's this, what's this, what's this? So like that, you are picking knowledge in different fonts and different ends. So that also, so it was then I picked up Photoshop, and we were using Photoshop for photo manipulation then, where you like blur the background, you would change people's shirt color, you would like put thunder on like pictures, just wacky designs. But doing that repeatedly, watching YouTube, you get to like I get to get better at my design phase, so to say. Then I got done with Unilag and went for NYSC, came back, reality hits, you're like trying to like get a job. But before then, before I got into like, oh, okay, so while I was in trying to figure it out phase, I decided to go to Yaba College of Technology, wanting to study cinematography because I wanted to, then I picked, from Unilag, I picked up photography through designing photos, like through trying to like blow out background and all of this thing, and then we were like, just get your camera and shoot random stuff, go to events with like my classmates, and that was where I picked up photography, which now led me to studying photography at Yaba College of Technology. And while I was doing that, the classes that we had, also, I went to Yaba Tech with the intent of studying analog photography, but how the country is, there's no facility. There was the course, which is analog photography, but it was absolutely theoretical, where you're like given assignments, you write what chemicals to use in the dark room, but there is no dark room for you to like work. So everything was basically theory. But I had picked up photography then, and okay, let's jump to my influences and favorites. Andrew Salgado, Vivian Maya, Tyler the Creator, IKEA, Man of Steel, Quentin Tarantino, Midsommar, Samurai Champloo, Michael Jackson, Manu Garcia, Jason Leto, and Vincent Van Gogh, Simon London, and Chinese films. Chinese films, I don't know, as a kid, watching Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, it just stuck for me because of the athletic part of it. I'm a very athletic person, and like I said, trouble growing up. So we would during inter sports, you would do backflips, you would do all of these things just to like emulate what the Chinese movie is portraying. And Andrew Salgado really influenced my artistic style now. I'll get back to how it did. Also, while I was studying photography at Yaba Tech, I got into like researching different photographers and their style, and because I am a person that likes to take walks and go around my environment and just study people's interaction, just be fascinated by humans really. Um, I found out about Vivian Maya, and I was just really blown away by a collection of photographs. And it's a style where she shoots um, while being in the photograph, but just not being in the photograph. And Tyler, the creator, in my early adult years, I grew up with Odd Future, Wolfgang music, and just seeing Tyler change his persona album after album and, like push his stuff as an artist and as a creative is just like absolutely motivating for me. IKEA, I just got into um, furnitures and visual or clean visual aesthetics. That's why IKEA is there. It's like my favorite thing to do on Instagram and on Pinterest is just like look at furnitures and all these designers and just like appreciate the works they do, and also find a way to incorporate this um, framework that the furnitures and all of this, I usually incorporate them in my own personal work. And Man of Steel is a movie by Zack Snyder and the soundtrack from Hans Zimmer. And the soundtrack is just what keeps me going on days when I feel stuck at work or I feel stuck while doing work. Midsommar is a movie from the A24 studio, and basically it's just to like represent movies from A24 studios because I feel like they are thought-provoking. Each time I see any A24 movie, I'm, ready to see the next one. Quentin Tarantino, his dialogue and cinematography and choice of actors and choice of color while doing this movie is just like amazing for me. And Samurai Champloo, which is my favorite anime, I'm more of a cartoon person, but Samurai Champloo is just like one season. It features, and the reason why I really love it is because it's not just about the Bushido, the way of the samurai, but it talks about like an artist that smells like a sunflower, which is like, it talks about not just sword fighting and everything, but it uses graffiti, it uses good dialogue, and yeah, it's just it for me. And I mean, Michael Jackson, who doesn't want to read Michael Jackson when they were younger? Yeah. Manu Garcia. Manu Garcia is just an artist I found recently, and the way his paintings struck me was that I think about this idea that whenever we're having conversations, we really don't finish conversations. We just like move on to something else, which is what I feel like his paintings and Andrew Salgado's paintings make me feel like where they're saying something, but then you get introduced into another dialogue while you're still on the same painting. Southern Bastard is a comic book I found during COVID, and it's made by Jason Aaron and Jason Leto, and just the art style that Jason Leto uses is just something that captivates me, where he doesn't draw like the regular comic book artists do, the Jim Lee, the Frank Miller. He just like has his own style, and I really do love it. And yeah, Vincent van Gogh. As a child, I was taught like he did art for 10 years and he died. I'm like, why? Like, why would you do art for 10 years and just kill yourself? So I really got into studying him and what he went through. And then back then, there wasn't really much talk about mental health and all of these things, but he was dealing with like a lot. But you just get to hear, oh, he did that for 10 years and he killed himself. Like, there's just no, but as an adult and really getting to like know his life and troubles, like just like made me appreciate his works some more. Simon London is a French illustrator that I also discovered during COVID, and I love his drawing and animation style because it's just not conventional. It's just not the way the regular illustrators like move. Yeah. My portfolio, I'm gonna be splitting it into two parts, which is pre-COVID and post-COVID. Like when I was done with uni and done with Yaba Tech, trying to figure out what career path to do, because I knew I'd gotten better in photography or as a photographer, but it's just the stigma with photographers, and I'm very, very much not the most comfortable person shooting at events. Done it several times, and event photography is just, oh my God, I don't know how those guys do it. Shout out to them. So, pre-COVID, these are the works that I was doing. This was the first painting that I did when I got my drawing pad in my little room. I would draw on paper and scan and then take to Photoshop to clean up. This was a project that I did with Osioni. Osioni is a visual artist and designer and brand owner that I met, and he also really introduced me to a lot of things design-wise, and so he just got. So here's the story. He got snake skin off a trader, and we were like, oh, okay. And that was the time when H Factor is a space that used to be in Lagos Island. And so we would meet and, talk about design, and if he has like some projects that he wants me to like get on, we would do. So we wanted to do something that talks about animal cruelty, and so we created different characters and we painted them on the snake skin and we exhibited them. But that was my first experience as an exhibiting artist. These are just like the different styles and different works or different illustrations that I was doing pre-COVID, still trying to like find my voice as an artist, still trying to like, discover what kind of artist I want to be. And in 2017, I also, like I said, the Chinese movies was a very huge influence for me. While I was also studying the photography and all of this, I got into Japanese culture and the similarities between Yoruba culture and Japanese culture. And that was where I tried getting, or I searched online to see if there was anybody that made this kind of product, and I didn't really see one that was, affordable for someone like me at that point in time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start my own brand, which is Musa. And Musa is just a brand where I make kimonos, I make shirts, tie-dye kimonos, tie-dye shirts, tie-dye pants, and got my friends to model for me. Um, Also, my experience studying photography at Yaba Tech, like I said, improved my photography skill a lot. And it was this, at this period, I began to um, interject photography and graphic design and art like I was doing here. Um, this was done during COVID, and this was an illustration that I did from sort of playing around the idea of what would happen if, what would what would you do if this happened to you in like BRT bus? Because like I would commute from we used to stay in Yanakwaja, or we used to stay in Yanakwaja, from Yanakwaja to Lagos City Computer College. You take the BRT. So I was very fascinated with like what would happen if this happened to you. What would you do in this situation? It was during this period, during COVID, everyone was home. I kind of got better at my illustration style. I really found the voice that I was much more comfortable to do, and know that wherever people would get to see this kind of work, they would know that, oh, I did this kind of like, oh, this is from this artist, or this is from this artist. So I made this illustration, posted it online on Instagram, got a lot of traction. Then I decided to like produce T-shirts and sell them online. And also at this period, I was, like I said, multidisciplinary visual storyteller. And this is just another work that I did with that. What would you do if this happened to you? And it's just like what commuting used to be in Lagos, when you like on a regular Okada, and when you are like riding with an Hausa Okada man, where they're always like riding like they have 9 lives. It was at this point I was getting better with my artistic voice. I was getting better with my style. I was getting better with how I could trust myself to like do things and execute projects in my own way. So yeah, post COVID, no, it was just before COVID. I got a mail from Fatherland, and then we spoke on Instagram, and it happened that I was going to illustrate the Palm Wine music album cover. Through different back and forth, this was the one we arrived with. And like I said, I was much more comfortable now in my art style. I could move between this style and doing this style very comfortably, because I had done a lot of work during this period, like the shit tons of work that I've done, but just have to like put them here. Now I understood colors better. Now I understand the correct tools to use on Photoshop. Now I was better artistically. So yeah, like I said, my photography career, this was a project that I did while I was in Yaba Tech, where you have to pick a project. And I'm a person that moves on the street a lot, and I wanted to tell a story of how these street puff and street buns, like how it was made. I woke up in the morning, I went to the person's house, and shot the process from them blending the flour, mixing it, and doing all of this. And in all of these doings, these assignments that I was doing at Yaba Tech, it trained me to like understand angles, understand light, understand certain photography elements, where I'm able to like go out and shoot all of this. These are all different photography projects. These were shots during a photo walk in Lagos Island. This was when I went back to my hometown, Kogi State, in 2017. This was a last mile official in Yaba, and this was a project that I wanted to do at that time, where we talk about the fashion style and the fashion sense that Okada riders have, because I believe like they are just they are effortless with the way they line up clothing items. This was a project that I did also to kind of document what it means to be someone that went to both Islamic school and English Western education, and how I balance both of them. Still a project that's going on. And then, yeah, COVID happened. So while COVID happened, just before COVID happened, I would go to exhibitions, and like I said, I and Osioni had already worked on snakeskin. We had painted with acrylic. He had introduced me to using oil pastel, and being an artist, that my number one love is drawing. I love drawing a lot. And I just felt like trading pastels for pencils worked very, very fine for me. So then I started training myself with different materials: watercolor, acrylic, oil, pastel, to know which ones I really enjoy doing and which one I can get to in no time. So post-COVID, I started this. I don't know if I'm sure you guys would have seen like the reference for this photo on Pinterest. Pinterest was where I was spending the majority of my time studying, looking at different artists that do work in the same sites that I want mine to be seen as. So going to Unilag, you get to draw almost every day, and I've experimented with different types of drawing in school. But now, this period where everybody is home, I just like needed an output. So I started training myself like with pastels, with watercolor, deciding if I want my characters to be personified or if I want them to sort of like have an abstract element to them where you can recognize yourself to be in the space that these characters are in. And also, I just wanted to like take out the overly figurative elements. Then, post-COVID, I also got into a residency for Vlisco and Co. There was a call out and I applied, and I got to be part of Nigeria's what's it called? Three people selected from Nigeria. I was among them, and it was a virtual residency or workshop. And during this workshop, we were told to pick an element where you get to now build a world. Excuse me. You get to build a world around these elements. Like, you get to draw a map of your world. You get to draw, if you would draw what your city would look like, what would it be? What would humans in your world, what would they look like? Just like world building. So I chose flowers and plantain because, flowers are beautiful and I love plantain. So with flowers and plantain, with us in the workshop, we were trained on, pattern making. And like I said, my niche is Photoshop and CorelDRAW, like I was trained at Lagos City Computer College. But during this workshop, I was introduced to using Adobe Illustrator, Yeah. Um, I still use Photoshop. So using Adobe Illustrator to create patterns, like so this world building that we were doing, what would it look like? What are the elements? So these are my elements, flowers and plantain, and this is what transportation would look like in my world of flowers and plantain, and this is what the interior of the houses, this is what I would imagine it would look like. And so when I made flowers and plantain, I also made some paintings. Like I said, by this time I was already certain what I want my visual language to be. And I was already getting better using pastel. And like I said, when people have conversations, we just move to another conversation. I wanted my paintings to sort of like have that element where, and all of these were influenced by movies and cartoons and comic books. I just wanted like my works to carry these elements in them where you can spot like hidden messages in them. So for flowers and plantain, I designed like, or through the workshop, or through training of the workshop, I designed like a full catalog, even like, okay, what would shirts look like? What would, like, if I were to exhibit this project, this flowers and plantain project, as a body of work, what would it carry? What the t-shirts would look like? What certain things that when people come to the exhibition, even if you can't get any, even if you can't like get any painting, you can, have something to take home from this exhibition. So that was the world I built for Flaps and Plantain. And while doing all of this, I found out that I, now have the opportunity to put all of these things that I've learned, all of this training that I've gone through, I found out that I can put them together. Like, I can, sell an experience as an artist. It's not just about painting or like being done with the painting and then just like hope that people get the message and your painting is in storage somewhere, somehow. But I always want to like create an experience. And it was during this workshop that it, developed, or I developed that skill. Then in 2021, I met Dida. She's a collector from Ivory Coast. A friend introduced me to her, and when she was in Lagos, she saw my pieces. And at this point in time, I was just, getting my leg in the art world. Post Yaba Tech, I had done graphic design jobs, I had done photography jobs, and then COVID happened, and then now during COVID, the works that I made during COVID showed to a showed to a curator, and she liked them enough to put them in a show, and just slowly that was how like my artistic career began as an artist. But while I was doing this, I was also still, or I am still doing Musa, which is my brand. And so now I am able to like jump between being an artist and being this brand designer for Musa, where I can link the play of colors with fabric and the play of colors with my paintings. So we met Dida, and long story short, we proposed the residency, and it happened. So in 2022, I was in Ivory Coast for a month and 10 days. And at this time, I had already known that, okay, this is my niche, which is being an artist, being a painter. I'm very strong at this. So we got materials, we got the space, like a massive house, we got internet. So all you need to do is just create. And I was in the house with different artists from Lagos, from Senegal, from UK, and meeting all of these people and, seeing what their process is like sort of made me take a step back, look at what my pieces were, and sort of challenged myself because I was very comfortable doing small pieces. I want people to be drawn into the world. I felt like when you make big paintings, there's like a lot of empty space in them, not knowing what to say when there's like an empty space staring at you. But while I was in this residency, I met like artists that primarily they work on big, big canvases. So I just had to, take a step back, look at them, challenged myself. And while I was in Ivory Coast, I would go around the village in Grand Bassam. I would go around the village, notice certain elements that the community has, notice their visual language, notice their daily life. And being a trained person as a photographer, I was also able to, get reference photos. And being a graphic designer, I also look at their visual language and what it is that they use to market their stuff and how they communicate with each other, what the branding is like for products that they have there. And these were the pieces that I made from that residency. So on there was a day we were walking to the beach, and I found this chopboard, and I also had that idea where I know that I can collect, or I can start collecting pieces like this, which are like cast away, and then turn them into an artistic object with the story to them or with elements to them where you can always go back to explain the memory or the experience you had from those sort of pieces. And while I was in the residency, I also got better with my use of organization in the piece, in the works, where I can now, put certain elements in a manner at which I know that when I'm introducing the conversation to people in the painting, they're not lost or thrown away by certain element that I might put there in that painting. So the residency was a really big boost for me in my career. And that brings us to Wired and Unwired, which is a project that I just finished exhibiting. And Wired and Unwired was born out of frustration of being a Lagos artist, where there isn't like a space for co-creation. Houses are like super expensive, and there's no lights. And it was during this period that Nigeria was also in a transitional stage where our current president was about to be the president of the country. So, and I was also at that point where cash was very, very scarce in the country, where you had to like buy cash from POS agents, and also fuel was very scarce at that point in time. And it was just a whole lot of implosion where you feel like, what the fuck is going on? And also, during this period, I had to like deal with crazy neighbors. So we were sharing an electricity meter, and the money would be split 4 ways, but somebody said somebody wants to collect their house band. So they had to kick the person out of the four-way, and it's now like three of us paying the NEPA bill. And the person husband that they want to kick, that they want to steal, said, okay, since you have the F13 to like kick somebody out of this meter, I'm not going to like pay electricity bill anymore. And that sort of like put more dents on the marriage cracks that they have. And while all of this is going on, because also this is my granddad's house, they all have these expectations that I am the young landlord in the house, like every responsibility is on my head. But so yeah, like I said, English. Wired and Unwired is a documentation of my experience with power agents and spiteful neighbors. This work delves deeply into intricate relationship between humans and environment amidst the backdrop of socio-political change, English, through a dynamic interplay of vibrant compositions and compelling portraits. I skillfully navigate the complexities of human interaction, infusing my work with African traditional motifs that offer layers of meaning for viewers to engage with and explore. Through these pieces, I hope to amplify the voices of those impacted by power struggles, shedding light on pressing societal issues. I felt like this thing that I'm going through with the frustration from NEPA, frustration from neighbors, a lot of my folks are also maybe going through the same thing. And at that point in time, I felt a need to tell that story. So while all of this was going on, all the chaos in the house was going on, yeah, I made sketches. I made sketches of what was actually going on. I titled the exhibition, like titled the body of work. I titled the paintings as I had them because, I was experiencing this thing, so I already knew what was going on. I already have an idea of what I want to, or how I want to tell this story, because I'm better with my visual language now. I'm better with my artistic style now. I'm much more comfortable, telling this story in a manner at which I feel like I can reach a lot of people experiencing this same situation. So I titled the works, I had done my sketch, and then I started the painting. And this is Power Agents, where what started it was them, the power agents, the NEPA officials, coming to chop off your wire, and the frustration from that. And also it kind of brought a thought in my head where we go to church and we go to mosque and we pray for very, very ordinary things like good road, have lights, have money and all of these things. But the big thing is that you have to hold government officials accountable, but nobody's ready to do all of that. So I just wanted to tell the story from that point of view, where we're praying to power agents, or we feel like we're praying to God, but we're praying to power agents for them to not come chop off your light, or for them to bring light up NEPA. And then here up NEPA is just this is I Get Rechargeable Fan. And this piece was titled I Get Rechargeable Fan is because, while the other members of the house were all in darkness, I'm yeah, I get rechargeable fan. And there's only one way for me. I found a way to document this, and by painting this. And this is Marriage Wars, and this is Marriage Wars because it legit, this electricity situation legit ended the marriage between those couple where the husband had to leave the house and police had to come. And it was just so interesting to see that a trivial matter like lights and these things could lead to a break in union like that. Um, I better pass my neighbor, a very, very big element in our electricity life, where that's what I grew up, I mean, hearing, I better pass my neighbor, I better pass my neighbor. And when you see it, it's just like this tiger gen that it's been titled, I better pass my neighbor. Um, Wired and Unwired is just a collection of my experience that happened in 2024 with my neighbors and how I, as an artist, found a way to document this and, tell this story of my own experience. And post Wired and Unwired, I am much more comfortable now as an artist, as a storyteller, and I found a way to reach people with my skill and my craft. And also, while I was, building this Wired and Unwired wall now, post Flowers and Plantain, because doing Flowers and Plantain, also opened me to another world. Like I said, we're building a whole phase for a particular project, and I also made these T-shirts. The exhibition for Wired and Wired happened at Windsor Gallery in Abuja and in Ivory Coast and in Lagos, and it was also very fun. Matter of fact, I had where is it? Okay, I think this particular painting, which is Drag the Gen, a person said that they're very much interested in this painting because they want to see if this is still going to be the same situation we're going to have in the next 5 years. And it was really, really, heartbreaking where this is our reality. So yeah, I think I'm now at the end of my rambling and my talk. I have another exhibition starting on Saturday at Windsor Gallery, Lagos. And as an artist in Lagos, I've had shows here, I've had shows there, but this is sort of like a come together of my journey post-COVID and how much I have grown as an artist and how much I have grown as a storyteller. So please, if you're available during this weekend, come check it out and come see the works. And I have always wanted to end any talk like this. We are nothing but pencil in the hands of the creator. Thank you, everyone.